contacted Kerry Walton, the owner. He was meant to get back to me, and I was supposed to go yesterday, Saturday, and I thought, oh, that'll be great. I'll make a day out of it. I'll go meet Letta the doll, and there's also a supposedly haunted hotel that you can stay in Warwick, where the doll is. And I thought, I'll make a note of it. But then he rang me out of the blue on Thursday and said, oh, we've got to travel with Letta, short notice. Can you come now? I went, oh. So I did. So it took me about, from where I live, it was about an hour and a half drive, roughly. But I'd never been out that way before, so I don't know how many Aussies are here. But if you ever get a chance to drive out toward Warwick up in Queensland, do it. I didn't realise there's a place called the Great Dividing Range, and it runs right through there. And so as I was driving by myself, so no one to say, wow, look at that, all the mountains and stuff, it's stunning. So there you go. So I drove out there to meet with Letta. But yeah, Debbie was the one who said, hey, have you seen this haunted doll called Letta? Yeah, so anyway, Kerry rang me. He rang me on Thursday and said, hey, can you get here? Because, as I said before, I was supposed to meet the doll yesterday, Saturday, and I was going to make a day out of it. But as it turns out, I had to rush to meet Letta because Letta had things to do. Letta is very busy. So I drove there and met up with Kerry Walton, the owner of the doll. On meeting Kerry, he explained that his beautiful wife, Evelyn, passed away 2 months ago. And that is why Evelyn was not there as well with Letta. And I apologised because in all my messages to Letta, I was saying mum, like as in Evelyn, because I'm like that. So never mind. So that was very, very sad for him because it's still new that he's lost his wife of, I think, over 50 years they've been married. Anyway, so he asked me why I wanted to meet. He asked me why I wanted to meet Letta, and I explained about my son, and I explained about my fascination with haunted things and could it be real, is it real, all that sort of thing. And he said he couldn't believe I'd never heard of Letta. And I said, I haven't heard of Letta. I said, I had a friend who told me, diabolical Debbie, who told me all about this doll. And I said, I looked up a picture of him, but I said, to be quite honest, I didn't do much more than that. I said, I wanted to wait till I met you. So he said, well, okay, well, do you want to meet Letta? And I said, yes, the doll with a face that only a mother could love. I do. And so Letta was in the back seat and he got him out. He's quite, well, you would have seen from the photo, he's quite big, Letta. Like he's about as big as my Isabel doll here. Like he's quite tall. And I said, oh, am I allowed to hold him? And Kerry said, yeah. And he popped him. He said, sit down and I'll pop him on your knee. So I sat down on the little bench and he popped Letta up on my knee. And wow, that doll, like, yes, when you look at the pictures of it, it's got like a funny, not very attractive features. But when you look at it, the eyes, look, I'll get to the history of the doll in a second, but the eyes are beautiful. Like the whole thing has been made, I don't know, whoever carved it was certainly an artist. Like it was just beautifully made. And the eyes are, I'm assuming that they're glass, but when you look at the eyes close up, you can see tiny little red, like they're real eyes, but they're really big eyes. Excuse my cat. My cat's going to get in trouble today because she's been meowing like that for attention. But anyway, so the doll sat on my knee and it's got real hair. Like its hair is real. So it's real human hair. And nothing to me scary about the doll whatsoever. And I'll tell you more about it. So the history of the doll, for those of you who don't know, Kerry collects things. So actually he's kind of a kindred spirit because we had a good talk. He loves history things and he loves picking up, like he's a collector and he's a writer. So he researches lots of things, history, historical events, etc. So he was 23 years old. He lived in Wagga Wagga in New South Wales, in Australia, obviously. And he decided one day to go. There was an old house in Wagga Wagga that had been flooded so many times, it was now abandoned. And all the locals used to say, oh, it's haunted, etc. So he decided one day to go and check out the house and see if there was anything of value, still laying around that he might be able to collect. And he was under the house and he had his torch and he was shining his torch around and the torch came upon Letta, right? And he said he got such a fright that he banged his head on the bottom of the thing because he actually thought like it was a dead child. That's how frightened he was. And but then he said, but then I sort of, I was all right. So he said I went forward, realised what it was, shone the torch on it. He said it was wearing little clothes and all. It was, dirty, etc. But he said I grabbed the doll, and he said as I grabbed the doll, all the clothes on it sort of just disintegrated off of it, like just broke off. But he took the doll home. Long story short, he took the doll home, and he said that nobody at home wanted the doll around, and he's like, ooh, whatever. So he had it in a bag, and he just sort of left it there, but he said eventually different things happened. He wanted to get the doll out, have a look at it, etc. And in doing that, he said that's when strange things sort of started to happen for him and his family. So I guess the long and the short is, for me personally, with the doll, it's definitely, well, you know me, I love collecting old things. Oh my God, I'd love that doll. But there was nothing to me evil about it at all. If anything, it was, I did kiss it. I kissed it right on the nose. And it was I thought, adorable. And it's got this draw to it. Like, you just look at how it's made and you think, oh gosh, it's just beautiful. And its little feet, it's like Pinocchio. It's like Pinocchio. It's just this tiny little thing. And it had little holes in its ears where once upon a time it must have had little gypsy earrings. I don't know how to explain it, but I fell in love with Letta. I just think Letta's adorable. But some of the stories that Kerry told me were things along the lines of eventually interest was taken on the doll, but what he did, he took it to the Australian Museum in Sydney because he didn't know anything about it and he wanted to get it looked at by professionals. So they went over it with a fine-tooth comb and they basically dated it from the nails in its little feet, in its little shoes. The doll has been dated, so he says it's 200 to 220 years old, going by the way it was made. He's looking at getting it x-rayed, or because he thinks, he's pretty sure there's something in its feet, as in like maybe some notes or something. And he said he doesn't know why he continually thinks that. He said Evelyn, his wife, wouldn't let him. He said at one point he was going to try and get the shoe off and see if there was anything in there. And she said, don't you cut Letta. I'll tell you how Letta got his name. So Kerry and his brother were traveling with Letta, and they put Letta in a bag. And I think it was shortly after they found Letta. They had him in a bag in the back of the car. And as they're driving along, Kerry said because of the lights coming through, it kind of looked like sometimes the bag was wiggling, and his brother made a joke, reached over and touched the bag and made it like the doll was talking, saying, "Let me out." And it just stuck. So that's how Let Me Out got its name. And he's a gypsy doll. Back in the day, the gypsies would have these sorts of dolls with them when they would tell someone's fortune. Now, I did look at some old videos, etc., that had a psychic lady involved with the doll. In fact, two different psychics. I put as much personal opinion, I put as much faith in psychics as I do in anything else. I'm not 100% convinced with anything that comes out of a psychic's mouth, but I'll listen, and you never know. So for me, psychics, so some psychics say that they believe that Letta was carved by the father of a deceased child. They say they believe that a child drowned and the father made the doll in its likeness, which, goodness me, for a child, he had a pretty big snozzer. And the doll somehow contains the soul of either the father or this child. What do I think? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I do get the feeling there's something about the doll, because even for me holding it and talking, and I was talking to it, but then again, you all know I'm a bit of a nut job, so maybe that's all it was. But yeah, sitting there talking to the doll, looking at the doll, touching the doll, I'm wondering, that's why I would like to look at it. I'm kind of wondering, when you hold the doll's hand, it's little hands. If you have a look at pictures of it and stuff, it's little hands carved in such a way that you can put your fingers inside its hand to hold its hand, and it feels like it's holding your hand. It's so cute. So yeah, the doll is very tactile, and when you look at the workmanship, I can't express enough. Pictures actually don't do the doll justice, but I wanted to take the doll. I just wanted to take the doll. But that's the other interesting thing. Kerry told me at one point when he was younger, just after, not long after finding the doll, his wife Evelyn and himself were building a home. They didn't have much money, and they were struggling. And of all things, he got offered $400. Back in the 70s, that was a lot of money, right? He got offered $400 for the doll. So he agreed to meet this lady and take the doll and sell Letta. He said he got as far as the lady's shop, got out of the car, opened the back door to get Letta out, and he said he doesn't know why exactly, he can't explain it, but he just could not do it. He said it was like the doll was saying, "No, don't get rid of me. Please don't." He said it wasn't speaking per se, but that's how he felt. And just this overwhelming, he said they were desperate for money. And that $400 back in, like, honestly, $400 back in the day was a lot of money. Houses back in the day were $9,000. So if you can think for a minute, $400. So anyway, he didn't. He didn't, and he took the doll home and said to his wife, I can't sell it. I want to keep it. I know, but surprisingly, straight after that, their money worries disappeared. They couldn't explain it. They were just having good luck all the time. Money came to them when they needed it. And he said eventually calls came in about the doll as well. People were interested in the doll and the different stories. So he would take the doll and show it to places and obviously be paid to do so. So their money woes disappeared. And he's 100% convinced that's because Letta didn't get, like, he kept Letta. And apparently Letta sits in there, like, Letta is part of the family, basically. So Letta has got a chair in the house. Letta goes on, or went on, when Evelyn was still alive, would go on road trips with them and that sort of thing. So he's very, very attached to Letta. And he's not, trust me, I've met him, he's not a crazy man. Like, he's a regular dinky-die Aussie. And yeah, so he's had that doll all this time. He said that he's taken the doll sometimes to places and women have been feeling sick and screamed and ran away and all that sort of thing. He doesn't know why. No, neither do I. But interesting, while we were there and I was holding the doll, a couple of ladies were walking past with their pet dogs, right? And he said, "Oh, would you like to meet the doll?" Because they looked and thought, "What's that?" One lady come up and went, "Oh," she didn't touch him or anything. She goes, "He's handsome." And her mum just hightailed it Oh, no, 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 no. The minute the word haunted doll came out of Kerry's mouth. But I think personally, is the doll haunted? Probably, but it didn't do anything bad to me. Didn't talk to me. Nothing strange has happened to me since meeting the doll. And because I'm a bit of a crazy person anyway, I don't know if how I felt about the doll at the time was just me or if it was something to do with the doll. But the doll itself, I know that if it were mine, I wouldn't get rid of it. Not in a million years, not for $1 million. Do I think it's got an evil entity attached? No. Do I think it's evil? No. Do I think it's, I kind of got a feeling of, what's the word? Affectionate. That's how it felt. Like, I know I was being affectionate to the doll, but the doll felt affectionate. Like, I wanted to cuddle it. There was something about the doll, I just wanted to cuddle it and stroke its hair and its hair. But yeah, so he's just adorable. I think there's something about the doll. I'll agree with the owner. There's something about the doll, but what that something is, whether it's a soul, probably an attachment, I don't know. But definitely meeting the doll, there's something about it. Just like Octagon Hall, just like some of those places, it's like the doll contains its own history. I don't think it's evil. I don't I don't think it's got a bad bone in its body. I think possibly the ill effects that people get when they meet Letta might just be, I know this is me stretching, like a reflection. So if you meet that doll and it scares you, I reckon it's kind of like you're looking into a mirror. It's kind of like, I know that's how I felt though. It gives back what you give to it. So if you've got maybe some bad juju about you, or you're just not maybe a very nice person, maybe the doll picks up on that and doesn't want you anywhere near it. And I don't know. So I don't know, but I certainly know that the man who now owns the doll, or has always owned the doll, Kerry Walton, beautiful, lovely man, sweetheart. And he's not a liar that I can tell. Pretty consistent with all of his stories, and the fact that he and his wife had a lot of good luck with the doll is really good. I've since I've met the doll, I feel quite happy about it. I've made a new friend in Kerry Walton, and I said I'll keep in contact with him because he, like me, loves history, and he gave me a few handy hints on where to find out some more historical information because that's what he does. So if anything, I made a friend, and Letta is absolutely so cute. I think he's cute. Yeah, there's also, Letta has a Facebook page which Kerry's granddaughter looks after. So that's how you make contact with Kerry and Letta. So go to Facebook and just write Letta Me Out, and it's like a personality page or something. Kerry told me that he got a phone call from someone in Russia last week wanting him to bring the doll to Russia. He said, no. He said, you invaded Ukraine. I'm not coming anywhere near you guys. And I thought, good on you, Kerry. He said he's had a call from Ireland. Once people want him to travel there. He knows that people in America would like to meet Letta. I did tell him that if he goes to America, he should take Letta to Williamson because Kerry he's fascinated with the Hatfields and the McCoys. So I said to him, go to Williamson, where the old hospital on College Hill is. I said, because that's Hatfield and McCoy territory. So we'll see. You might end up seeing some advertisements for Letta the doll at the old hospital on the hill. The doll is from Eastern Europe, and the museum seems to think the Romanian area because that's where predominantly back in the day gypsy people were from. So yeah, definitely a gypsy doll made by gypsies. Think that whatever might be in the doll, whatever attachment it has, for me, it's more like an affectionate thing. you just really feel very affectionate toward, well, I did, feel very affectionate toward the doll when I met it, and Kerry does too, and the family does. So I think it's a nice haunted doll. It's not scary at all. So far as haunted dolls are concerned, yes, in my opinion, there's something about the doll, but it's not spooky, it's not scary. It's for me, it gave me a nice feeling. It was nice. I enjoyed the doll.